Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving into a really fascinating question that's all about nutrition and biology. Can you actually change your skin's pigment just by changing what's on your plate?
Now, I know it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But the answer is a big, resounding yes. It's just probably not in the way that you're thinking. We're going to unpack the real science behind how certain foods can actually influence your skin's natural ability to tan.
So for years, we've all heard that vitamin C, from citrus fruits, helps to brighten and lighten your skin. But what if I told you that one of the most popular citrus fruits out there could actually be doing the exact opposite? Yeah, it's a paradox that reveals a much, much deeper story. Okay, let's dive right into this citrus paradox. To really get how food affects our skin tone, we have to start with this pretty surprising contradiction. It's just a perfect example of why nutrition is so much more complex than we usually give it credit for.
Okay, check this out. On one hand, you've got grapefruit. It's packed with a compound called naringenin, which studies have actually shown stimulates melanin production. But then you've got oranges, which contain hesperidin, a compound that can do the exact opposite. It can inhibit the process. So it's not about one being good and one being bad. They just do different things. It all depends on what your personal goals are.
So how on earth can two fruits that seem so similar have such opposite effects? Well, the answer isn't in the fruit. It's inside our own bodies. It's deep within the intricate machinery of our very own pigment factory. Let's take a look under the hood.
I want you to think of your skin cells as these tiny little factories that are constantly producing melanin. That's the pigment responsible for your skin, hair, and eye color. Now, this production line is a pretty complex biochemical process, but don't worry, we can break it down into a few key parts. So it all comes down to this three-step process. First, you need your raw material, right? That's an amino acid called L-Tyrosine. Think of it like the clay you need to make a pot. Second, you need a motor to get the whole assembly line moving. That's an enzyme called tyrosinase, and its spark plug is copper. Without copper, your factory is basically dead in the water. And finally, none of this happens without an order from the factory manager, and that's a specific gene called MITF. This gene is the boss. It tells your factory when to start production and when to stop. And this is exactly where food comes into play. To get those raw materials, you can load up on tyrosine-rich foods like Parmesan cheese, soy, and eggs. And to power the motor, well, you need copper, which is abundant in things like oysters, sesame seeds, dark chocolate, and cashews. Who doesn't want an excuse to eat more dark chocolate?
But here's where it gets really, really exciting. I mean, providing the building blocks is one thing, but what if you could actually send a message directly to the factory manager, that MITF gene, and tell it to ramp up production?
This is literally the cutting edge of nutritional science. We're talking about bioactive compounds. These are special chemicals in food that can interact with your body on a cellular level. They don't just provide fuel, they actually give your cells instructions. They can literally flip a genetic switch.
And here are our star players. You've got sesamin, which is found in black sesame seeds, and it's been shown to directly signal that MITF gene to get to work. Naringenin, which we saw in grapefruit, does the exact same thing. And then there's piperine from black pepper, which has this fascinating ability to work with sunlight to boost pigment production. So cool.
Okay, let's take this to the next level. Because it's not just about eating the right foods, it's about eating them in the right combinations to totally maximize their power. This is where we can really start to see some dramatic effects.
Take a look at this number, 15.3 times. What on earth could possibly have an effect that massive?
This is just incredible. A study from Ohio State University found that just by adding avocado, a healthy fat, to a salad with carrots, you could boost the absorption of beta-carotene by over 15 times. Now, beta-carotene isn't melanin, but it's another pigment that deposits in the skin, giving it this healthy golden glow that, honestly, a lot of people find even more attractive than a tan. So, the big takeaway, the golden rule, is that pigments need a ride, and healthy fats are that ride. Cooking tomatoes in olive oil does the same thing for lycopene, another amazing skin-protecting pigment. And just look at hummus. It's the perfect food synergy. You get the raw material from the chickpeas, and you get the motor fuel and the genetic switch from the tahini. It's all in there. Okay, now, before you run out and start experimenting, we need to talk about a very, very serious risk. In this whole quest for a natural tan, there's a common mistake that can have painful and sometimes permanent consequences. You have to remember, natural does not always mean safe.
No, it's not what you get from drinking too many cocktails on the beach.
although it is related. This condition is sometimes called Lyme disease, and it's just a stark reminder that we have to respect the power of plant chemistry. The scientific term for it is phytophotodermatitis. It happens when these compounds called furocoumarins, which are found in things like lime and lemon juice, get on your skin. If you then go out into the sun, these compounds trigger a severe reaction that can cause actual chemical burns, blisters, and even permanent scarring. So please, whatever you do, never, ever apply citrus juice to your skin before you go outside. Okay, with that really important warning out of the way, let's bring everything we've learned together. Here is how you can build a smart, safe, and effective nutritional strategy to support your skin's natural pigmentation from the inside out. This sample day just hits all our targets perfectly. Let's walk through it. For breakfast, you're getting that raw material from the egg, a healthy fat carrier from the avocado, plus the copper and the genetic signal from black sesame. Bam. Then for lunch, you've got that perfect hummus synergy we talked about. A snack of grapefruit and dark chocolate gives you another genetic signal and more copper. And you can finish the day strong with dinner. Salmon for more tyrosine, paired with cooked tomato sauce to deliver that fat-soluble lycopene. See how it all works? Ultimately, everything we've talked about really just boils down to this single, powerful formula. You need the raw material, you need the catalyst to get things started, the genetic signal to give the order, and that healthy carrier to make sure all the good stuff gets exactly where it needs to go. So, the science is clear. What you eat has a profound, direct impact on your skin's health and its color. The question is no longer if you can eat your way to better skin, but how are you going to use this knowledge? It's time to start thinking of food not just as fuel, but as information for your body.